Hi, it's Jason Winters back with another edition of my video blog, and today's topic is going to be about supply chain. It's arguably the lifeline of an organization, and I have to really agree with that. And even if it's just applied to a project, you may have a project within an organization that's pretty large and that requires that you source a lot of materials or even complete products from suppliers. Supply chain really will have a major impact on your entire process and arguably on the profitability of your project or of your operation. So, what are some of the challenges that the supply chain has in general? Today pretty much everything is sourced anywhere in the world. So you have issues with obviously currency, with time zones, with regulatory problems in different countries, um, quality issues. Is your quality system auditing these suppliers and ensuring that they are meeting the specifications? Do your supply chain people understand, properly what they need to buy? Sometimes I think you can actually be kind of like a project manager within supply chain where you define the scope. What do we actually need to purchase? Or it could be engineering. Engineering may give you a part number with a number of components that you have to procure, and then you need to procure it, in accordance with that specification. But even though you have the specifications, sometimes then you have to understand where are the most competitive suppliers for that. And it could be an established agreement that you've already made, an alliance agreement. Those are really popular, and they have been over the last 15 or 20 years, maybe even longer now, to gain advantage, access to advantageous pricing, economies of scale. So are those suppliers still your best suppliers? Even though you may have an alliance agreement with them, are they still performing? And a lot of companies have scorecards, just like they have with their customers. When they have an alliance agreement with a customer, the customer will give them a scorecard. I would suggest doing the same thing with the supplier as well. How are they performing? How is their on-time delivery? Have they had any quality issues? Have they had any contractual issues with you? Have they had any issues with exporting, with importing? Whatever part of the process, it's good to know where they stand. Are they posing a risk to your operation? Are they mission critical? So there's a lot of things to talk about, a lot of issues that I think supply chain sometimes does not really get a lot of credit for all the things that they have to do to make sure that the company is really getting the best product at the best price and at the right time. So obviously, they have to deal with lots of, even turnover within organizations, holidays in different countries, working days that are not the same in different countries. It's a lot. It's a lot. So really, time management, organization skills, going back to project management once again, those are critical for supply chain. And then they will issue maybe a list, like in some cases, in distributors, you'll have a list of manufacturers that you can go to. If you want to buy complete products, for example, which ones you can use, and others that you may be able to use also because you found them. You've discovered a new source, which can be really a lot of interest to your company. Make sure you're going through all of the quality traps and all of the due diligence, as they say, to make sure that you can use them. So always have an open mind as to be able to be creative in the process, because using the same approach daily, in some cases for commodities, maybe that might make sense. But for a little bit more highly engineered products, have a higher technological component, those are going to require a little bit more attention and perhaps even involvement with engineering, with quality, with finance. What are their financials look like? Are they sound financially? Are they able to purchase raw materials that they're going to use to make your product? Sometimes you have to look at that. And another thing that I'd like to address is your contract with them. Because I've seen companies that are super rigid when it comes to customer contracts. But when it comes to their own supplier contracts, sometimes they don't even have a form for that. Oh, we'll just use the standard T&Cs and it'll be okay. Well, look at all the issues that could arise by not having a formal contract with that supplier. That's why, alliance agreements or supply contracts are really interesting, But you can't have them with everybody, obviously. That's a lot of legal resources that you're going to have to tie up to do that. So you obviously have to pick and choose to make sure you get the right ones with the right contracts. But I would suggest that if your company is that committed to having contracts negotiated properly with customers, I feel that at the same time they should do the same thing with the suppliers. So once you have all that information, together, then you're able to make a lot better decisions. Then you can even have a backup plan. You can have supplier ABC just in case one cannot meet a specific requirement, whether it's a delivery time, it could be price, it could be their own currency fluctuation, because in each country, certainly with the situation we have at hand in the last few months, currency fluctuation is all over the place. So how creative can your supply chain people be to make sure that they minimize also the impact of that currency fluctuation? So I guess in summary, supply chain really, I don't want to say they're the redheaded stepchild, but sometimes they don't get the fair shake because really, in essence, they're very similar to project management. They have to worry about everything. They have to make sure that nobody is without their product or their service. And obviously they depend on the organization as well to make sure that those things are organized properly, that there is a good timeline. So your project manager should be interfacing well with the supply chain people to say, look, I'm going to need these components at this time, or I'm going to need this product at this time. So it's really, it's a two-way street. But again, it's all about organization and communication. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this short video again, and I look forward to your comments as usual. And if we're not connections on LinkedIn, please send me a request. I'm always interested in making new connections. So thanks again for watching, and I'll talk to you next time.